Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Marie Holiday, and today is Thursday, November the 5th, 2020, and I hope everybody had a fabulous day today. And before we get started, I just want to remind my viewers and potential subscribers to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button if you have not. And with that being said, let's get on down to business with this lecture. This is going to be lecture series number 3 on avoiding relapse during the holiday, part 3. Avoiding relapse during the holiday, part 3. This is the third series of me discussing this topic, so this is part 3. The audience is aware we got all these holidays coming up: Veterans Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, and the holidays, as we all are aware. And I'm gonna give five tips to avoid relapse during the holidays in this lecture. I'm gonna give 5 tips to avoid relapse during the holiday, because holidays is a time to eat, drink, and be merry. However, that drinking piece might not be good for someone in recovery. So if you are a recovering addict, or if you are in recovery from alcoholism or drug addiction, gambling addiction, or added sugar, sugar is a drug. Sugar is very addictive. So we got to be watchful. We got to be mindful. Family time can also be emotional for many, especially those recovering from addiction. So I'm going to present the following holiday tips to stay clean and avoid relapse. And I threw sugar in there because, sugar is very addictive. And if the audience is aware, I made a deliberate decision over 2-3 months ago to remove sugar from my life. So it's going to be a challenge even for me to stay on course, to stay on path, to keep that sugar out of my life. And I am moving positive with that. I have staying focused. And I'm going to use some of these very same tips that I'm going to share with the world on how to avoid relapse from whether it's alcohol or drugs or gambling or added sugar or caffeine. Caffeine's a drug. So pay attention. First of all, tip number 1. Start each day with a plan to fend off your relapse. Have a plan. All alcoholics and drug addicts, are alcoholic or drug addict, or whatever your addiction may be, need to wake up each morning thinking about how to stay clean and sober. Once they have a plan, they should be fine for the rest of the day. So you gotta have a strategic plan. Just like by me removing sugar out of my life, every day I get up, I have a strategic plan. I pipe my meals for lunch, my healthy eating, my salads, my chicken, my water, my yogurt, my peanut butter, my nuts. I get everything I need to take a work. That's a plan. So that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, evaluate each situation. You gotta rank scenarios as low, medium, or high risk for you. Spend more time deliberately in low risk situations and avoid high risk situations. Examples such as a party that has an open bar. If you're a recovering alcoholic or drug addict, that could be a trigger for you if you go to a party that has an open bar. So evaluate every situation, every scenario that you go in as either low, medium, or high. You want to keep yourself in a low risk environment where you can make sure you don't relapse. So that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 around the holidays: if you are invited to a family event or a party, bring your party with you. And what I mean by that is, take along food or safe drink, like a beverage, soda, water, milk, tea. Bring your own stuff with you to the event, or so you won't be tempted. A lot of times when I know I'm going somewhere and I know I remove sugar out of my diet, I'm gonna bring something with me to munch on to go to that function or eat before I leave. So bring your own party with you. You can still enjoy the event, but have something on you to eat or drink that's non-alcoholic, where you can still be there, but at the same time be mindful of where you're at. Tip number 4 is know your triggers. For someone who's alcohol or drug addict, you should know your triggers for relapse. You should know your triggers and how to manage them. And the most common triggers correspond to the acronym HALT, HALT, meaning when you feel hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. When you got all that going on, you better have a game plan. Don't let yourself get too hungry, angry, lonely, or tired if you're in recovery, because those can be triggers. You gotta know your trigger. Take care of yourself mentally and physically to be able to deal with those triggers and deal with those cravings. That's just a very powerful tip right there. And tip number 5, don't forget to eat. Low blood sugar can leave you anxious or irritable. This in turn can make you feel impulsive and tempted by substances, rather it's alcohol or drugs or sugar. So have a nutritional meal or before you leave, or take a nutritional meal with you when you're going places. So those are just 5 positive tips that can help a person avoid relapse, rather it's sugar, caffeine, alcohol, drugs, and etc. And I use some of these very same tips to stay on course with keeping sugar out of my life. I make sure I keep my nutritional meal with me. I take my meals to lunch. I don't let myself get too hungry, tired, none of that. So I hope that was helpful. With that being said, simplify and have a great evening.